Hey everybody, so welcome to my humble little studio. What I'm going to go through today is marching bass drum tuning. These principles can also be applied to pipe band bass drums and pipe band tenors as well. What I have with me is the brand new 16-inch Yamaha bass drum that I bought for my school. Came with some funky heads on it, so I got some Yamaha heads to put on it. These are the Remos with the interior muffle ring. There's a couple of different ways you can handle this head. You can just put it straight on like this, so with the muffler inside, the extra piece of plastic. So you can see that the drum, you have its original head here, you have a piece of plastic that runs around here, and then inside they've put in this kind of felty kind of material on the inside to help with the muffling. And there's also, it might be hard to see, but there's a little sticker on the inside there. So this is to cut out all the nasty overtones that a drum naturally produces. Drums don't resonate inside the harmonic series, so sometimes you can get some really weird overtones that are coming out of your drum. So they have these different levels of muffling to reduce those so that you get mostly the fundamental pitch. This little sticker here is just durability, right? So when you're hitting these with marching band bass drum mallets, you need a little bit more durability to make sure that the head doesn't get punctured or doesn't get dented anyways or whatever. For pipe band tenors and pipe band basses, I heat this sticker up, peel it off just with a hair dryer. Peel it off, get some glue, of that Gooby Gone, kind of anything you can get to remove the glue on the head. And then also, sometimes for basses I do this. Normally I do this for pipe band tenors, is I'll take out the muffle ring because it's a bit much. In pipe band you like that nice sustainable resonance that comes out, and this may cut it down a little bit too much. So I just take that out and just use the plastic ring that's already built in it on its own. And what that plastic ring's going to do is when you strike the drum, it's going to flex out like this so that the drum can sing, and then it's going to come back and reduce those overtones. For marching band bass drums, I leave the felt in. We're really looking for mostly the fundamental and getting a really high amount of attack off of the drum. So I leave the felt in for marching bass drums. And really that's what these heads were designed for, was for the marching band bass drums, but they work good for all. Okay, I'm using Remo. I'm not going to sit here and promote any brand specifically, but each brand has their own design where they have this built-in muffling ring. So you can go Aquarian, Evans, whatever. Okay. Now, same with the drum. I bought a Yamaha drum. They sound great. They've sounded great for me so far. But more importantly for me, I find that the head will make more of a difference in your sound than the drum that you purchase. Okay. Each drum has its advantage. Some are lighter than others. Others project better than others. So you can test that out and do what you think. But ultimately, I think that the type of head is what really affects the sound. So put your head on. And before you put the rim on, I always suggest that you kind of put it on the harness and stand in front of a mirror and make sure that when it's on the harness, your head is up, right? The labels on your head are up. Because some harnesses might make your drum tilt like that, which means you'd have to bring the head up like this. Some of them go flat against your body, so you'd have to rotate it like this. So that's all part of this kind of aesthetic thing, to make sure that your labels are facing in the right way. And again, that's just me being picky. So this is a brand new drum. Doesn't come with any lubrication on it. So whenever you change a head, I always suggest that you take your lug and take some paper towel and clean out all. You'll see like a black residue all along here. That's the mixing of weather and collection of dust and the lubricant that you've used to protect your lug nut. So just rub that off, make it super clean. So do that every time you change your heads, as well as I like to do it at least once a year as well. Take every single drum apart, clean it, rub all the dust out of the inside of the drum, any pieces of fabric that have fallen apart in there, or any snare residue that's fallen apart in there, just get it out. Now, when you're lubricating these, there's no need for a ton of lubrication. And I'm just using Vaseline. You can use whatever you like that lubricates and protects, but Vaseline has done well for me for a long time. And again, none of these are my own ideas. These are ideas that I've collected from, Jill Ball, my university teacher, and Hugh Cameron, and Andrew Hoynacke, and none of I've just collected ideas and put them together. Okay, so just dip it right on the end. Just like you can see that it doesn't run up the threads very far. You just dip the very end, because as you put it down into the sheath, that will all cover. It'll get squished inside there. Whereas if you put a ton on there and it sticks out the top, the lubricant that's sticking out this top will collect sand fabrics, and then the next time as you're tuning and you're driving it in, the sand fabrics are going to rip away at the threading. Okay, so just put it right at the end. That's all that's needed. Okay, so I'm going to put these heads on, these rims on just like this. Just throw them on wherever you got them. If you've got a rim protector, if you're in a marching band, you've got a rim protector because you're slamming on the rims with the mallets, which is a great sound. I do it. So then just make sure that's up at the top or up where it's comfortable. So you take that, line it up with the lug, and all I do is I tighten it just until here. So well, you can see that. I just see how there's a space here. All I do is hand tighten it until it touches. And I'll put every single lug in like that before I put any tension down. And that'll get me reasonably even when I go to put it down. Now, if you're a little off, that's no big deal. Your drum dial will fix that. But it'll make it an easier job when you're going around with your drum dial if you just kind of try to put it flat. So you put your rim on there, give it a good push. Okay, it's sitting nice. Tighten that until it touches, and you do it for all the lugs. So I'm just going to pause the video, do that, and then I'll come back with more information. Okay, so I got all my lugs in. Now what I'm going to do is I like to work with 2 keys, just makes it easy, quicker. And what you want to do is you want to measure how many turns you do, right? So if I turn this down and then I turn this down until it feels tight, this one's actually going to be tighter than that one because it has to come down to the level of what you tighten that one to, and then you put extra pressure on, okay? So what you got to do is you got to actually measure it, and don't go by the feel, just go with the measurement, right? So I have my key as parallel to my rim as possible. Obviously it's a flat key and a circular rim, but you try to make it as parallel as possible, right? And I just go with 4 turns to start, 3, 4, just like that. And I'm calling a turn, basically rotating that all the way around until it lines up again, okay? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, that feels loose there, but it's the same number of turns. So once we get to the point where it's settled, that is going to sort itself out, the looseness and, in some areas. 2, 3, 4, And finally, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I go around, I check if there's any loose ones. There's a loose one, so we'll just do it again. 1, 2, 3. Let's go 2. 2. 1, 2. Down there. 1, 2. 1, 2. Got some wrinkles in my heads here. Check the tensioning. Okay, so that's good. So none of them are, there's some tension there, you can feel it. None of them are moving or wiggling at all. And now there is some rippling in the head here. That's okay. That's going to sort itself out here in a second. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video, do the other side, and then I'll show you my next step, which might scare you a little bit. Okay, so I've got both heads on. I'm making this this drum for my drummer, Mark Whelan, in my marching band there at Centennial. Shout out to Mark Whelan. Hope you like that. Mark Whelan's he's a pipe band drummer and a drum corps drummer, and you know what? I really encourage that. Once you get past when you first, like if you're a pipe band drummer and then you go to drum corps, or if you're a drum corps drummer and you go start doing pipe band, initially there'll be some tradition stuff that will seem weird and whatever, but you know, after like 6 months you'll realize there's a whole lot more common than there is different. Anyways, off my tangent. Okay, so both of my heads are on. They both got a decent amount of tension, and there's some rippling in the head here on the one side. That's okay, all right? Because a head, just like a guitar string, when you initially put on a new guitar string and you tune it to what it's got to where it's at, like within 5 minutes it's out of tune again, and then you got to tune it. And for the first week, depending on how much you play guitar, for week to 2 weeks, that guitar string is going to fall out of tune often because it hasn't been stretched to the point where it's going to hold the pitch, where you tune it and it holds it for a good amount of time. Well, the drum head's the same way, because we get pitched the exact same way by tightening the skin of the head, pushing down on it, which causes tightness. So we've got to stretch this head out a bit. All right. Now, every time I do this, I get weird looks. Doesn't matter if I did it in front of somebody 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. They'll all give you that kind of look because they're afraid the thing's going to break. Never had a head break on me. Okay. So get up on this thing. All right. Step on it. Keep your heels towards the back of the rim and just walk on it. Stretch it out a little bit. Okay? I'm not saying stomp on it. I'm also saying don't get on the head with your shoes on. These are nice soft feet, and I'm just using my body weight and doing nice, gentle, circular walk where the heels of my feet are up where closest to the rim, which stretches that portion out. Okay? So that gets that stretch out. Now this is going to be a couple-day process. So now my head is super floppy. There's all kind of floppiness in it. That's okay. We put some more tension on. Okay. What I want to do is I want to get this head so that to the point where when I put tension on it, it holds that tension and doesn't loosen. Okay. Some people will just kind of, just keep putting tension on until it gets to the point where it stops doing that. There's nothing wrong with that either. But this is a great technique to where if you have a head that gets pierced before a competition or something, like a day before a competition, that's okay. Don't be afraid to, don't be afraid to change. If you put a little hole in the edge, don't just go, we'll have to change it after the competition. Pull the thing off, throw a new one on, put some pressure on it, start walking on it, walk away from it, come back a couple hours later, put some more tension on it, walk on it, stretch it out yourself, and you'll be ready for competition. So I do that on both sides of the head, and when I have the time, it's kind of like a 2 to 3 day process where I'll walk on it, leave it, come back into it the next day. Walk on it, put pressure on it, leave it, come back to it the next day, walk on it, put some pressure on it, leave it, come back to it the next day. Okay? You're just trying to get that head to the point that it's not going to loosen on you when you get it to the pitch and when you get it tuned the way you want. Okay?